Hi, I'm Glenn Whipp with the Los Angeles Times. One of the great many pleasures of Better Call Saul this season was bringing back some characters from Breaking Bad that we thought we had maybe seen the last of. And one of those, of course, was Mike Ehrmantraut, played by Jonathan Banks, who joins us today. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
What was when did you get the call? From probably not from Saul, but I mean, when did you get the call that you were going to be?
Peter Gould called me as I was on Highland Avenue going across the potholes that I thought Measure R was supposed to take care of. But anyway, the car is bouncing along and I got a call from Peter and he said to me, you know, I'm so glad you're interested in da-da-da. And you remember when you said you talked to Vince about your son. We were shooting. Anyway, that's when it happened.
Yeah.
You want to hear the rest of that, though?
Well, I think you're referencing like the season 3 episode going back.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you get a little bit of backstory about Mike then.
I let my granddaughter out of the car with the Mylar balloons before I go and commit mayhem. And I sent her away, and the line was, your mother's waiting for you now, you know, hurry along. And Vince directed that episode, said cut. And I went over to him and I said, that's my granddaughter. That's not my daughter. I said, wherever Mike has lost his soul has to do with his son. And Vince went, well. And so when Peter called me, one of the things he said was, do you remember when? And it had to be, what, 3 years later? Yeah.
Those guys never forget.
No, it's selective memory sometimes.
Yeah, really?
But,
yeah.
No, they never forget.
Well, I mean, it's just, you know, like toward the end of Breaking Bad, there'd be like little callbacks or you know, toward things that you thought, oh, yeah.
Well,
right.
there are things that people watch and they say, do you know that they did da-da-da? And I haven't a clue what they're talking about because I never caught it the first time. So
yeah. Well, it's funny, too, if you ask Vince about it, he would say, yeah, I forgot about it too. But then, you know, we were going back and, you know, in that writer's room, they were kind of brainstorming for ideas and what if, and it kind of looked like at the end that there was some sort of master plan.
Yes.
It's your, yeah.
Yeah. No.
You can say no, there wasn't.
There's not.
But how interesting that one conversation from 3 years ago would end up being such a key part of the character and this particular first season of Better Call Saul.
Well, you had to get, Mike lost that soul somewhere. That darkness came from something. And yes, I can't imagine anything worse than losing a child.
Yeah. So when you got that initial call from Peter, you knew that was eventually going to be part of the first season.
Yes. You know, I don't remember the conversation exactly.
Yeah.
I do know that there was no question in my mind. I get to reprieve Mike. I thought, this is the best. I really want to do. I love the character.
Right. And who you probably never imagined that you'd get that chance to
no,
play.
I thought it was over.
Yeah.
Done is done.
Yeah,
and
he died.
He did. He
in
did.
a very memorable, beautiful way. Yeah. Except for freaking Walt didn't really need to.
Darn that guy. Oh man.
Yeah, and so the first 5 episodes, I think, of this 10 episode season, Better Call Saul. I mean, Mike's pretty much just in that parking lot booth, and that was the thing. You kept wondering, well, when are we going to see more of this guy?
Well,
were you ever wondering that?
That was probably another conversation that went along the lines, and I would have to curse to say this about, mofo, you better get me out of that booth.
Yeah.
And they did.
You'd put in your time.
Yeah, I knew I was coming out. I know there were notes in the script about Mike, don't worry, he's coming. He's coming. I swear they're in the script.
So a little reassurance for you there. Yeah. But you know, those scenes though with Bob, you know, pulling into the lot or out of the lot, there's such a wonderful dynamic between you and Bob Odenkirk and those two characters. The energy,
the
conflicting energy of them.
We have a good time. It's an easy fit. I don't know what else to say about it.
Yeah.
It just works well, you know. But I think that worked well in many ways for a lot of us with the, you know, from Breaking Bad all the way through Call Saul.
Mm-hmm. I just love watching Odenkirk's character. He's very language, a lot of words. He's doing this, and Mike's just looking at him, and there's nothing. The energy levels are so opposing that it makes just a great dynamic.
I think part of that is Jonathan Banks looking at Bob Odenkirk and knowing what in those first few shows, the amount of dialogue that Bobby had to remember and memorize, and going off by himself. His throat was bad the first show and not talking at all except when he was on camera. So part of my stoic attitude as I sit in that booth is looking at him and going, dude, I don't know how you're doing all this. This is a load.
Yeah.
And it was.
So that's the advantage of playing a stoic character.
You can, yes, I'll be quiet and look worldly. Yes.
Right. Yeah. It's still, you know, a challenge to make that interesting, but
yeah, I guess. Sure. Yeah, it is.
Yes. In case they're watching right now, yeah. So episode 6, titled 5-0, that's when we come to that, and that seed of the conversation that you planted 3 years ago is then fleshed out.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little about getting the script for that and how it may be
Well, I've described it, Gordon wrote it, and I've described it as a love letter for an actor. To get that script and the monologue, my first reaction to it is, now I need to do justice to this. I really need to do justice to this. And it wasn't hard because it's all there. And then, you know, I mean, for me right now to begin to talk about it, and it's with the assumption that people who are watching us know what we're talking about right now. You go back to a lot of things through a lifetime, and that's what you use. And there's no way, you know, I just feel I don't want to be maudlin about it, but it's about every friend I ever had that lost a child and how they ever kept living, because I have two friends that I have no idea how they kept going, but they did. And I guess the easy answer for that is that obviously the child would never want you to harm yourself. But when you are the one that's responsible for your child's death, you never get over it. And the character of Mike, it's never going to be better. It's never going to be, oh, I must go for it. That's not it. He's totally lost inside. The only thing that keeps him there right now is the granddaughter.
Mm-hmm.
Because he owes that to his son.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's, you know, he's lost his soul, but if he does have one, and you saw this in the Breaking Bad episodes too, the granddaughter. And it seems like he does have a good relationship with the daughter-in-law too.
Yeah.
I mean, it grows. You see it.
She's not in forgiveness. Yeah. And she's the one that calls him up short.
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna mess with me. And Carrie was great.
Yes, she was.
And Carrie, thick Irish accent when she's off camera, and was a jockey. I mean, she's the best. I had fun with her.
Yeah. In the beginning of that episode, the 5-0 episode, she knows that you know, and you're not giving anything, but she knows. And so there's going to be a distance between those two.
Well, she pushes, and when you think about it, she moves that whole thing along to get him to where he was going. Yeah.
Yeah, but even as you say that, a lot of times there's that release when you tell a story, and then you can go forward. But for Mike, there really isn't. And you say responsibility. Yeah, that's the really hard thing about that.
He's responsible for his son's death.
Yeah,
I mean,
I broke my boy. Is
yeah.
that you debased him, and I assume that most people have seen the episode because but that he was a clean cop, and you told him to go along because that's what you have to do.
You go along to get along.
Yeah.
And what horrible advice.
Yeah.
For anybody.
Right, and you kind of see that, I think, with Mike a little bit later on, and he's as his character, the decisions he makes are informed by the compromise that you see then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was really, but there was how he gets the revenge on his son's killers was satisfying, I guess.
Well, it was for me because I'm a big revenge guy.
Yeah.
Now, do I be King? I would go, oh no, revenge is not good. What? Do I be Jonathan Banks? You know what? Just, yeah.
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 And beautifully carried out. Mike's a pretty good actor, isn't he?
Yeah, I guess.
Well,
no, I mean, yes, without a question, he is. He is.
You see him in the bar.
Oh, I know, but I didn't see him in the bar. I happened to be him in the bar. Yeah. And so, yeah. I don't know what else to say except I put Mike on.
Did he ever take a drink? In that night?
No. Did I? I mean, yeah, there. But
did Mike?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He took a drink
because
he sells it. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because early on you see him with the glass, and he puts it back down when he heads over to tell them, "I know you."
There's one point where he does take the drink.
Okay. But he's like, you see him walking out of the bar, and he's kind of shambling along and staggering. But once he gets in that car, he seems to sober up, or he has the plan.
Let me tell you, those two actors are two good actors. It's just we have so many good guest actors, and I know I've heard people say that before, and I'm sure it's sincere. But you look back at some of the people that have come onto that show, and some of the characters that have come. They're wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
They're wonderful. And for me, as a journeyman character actor who knows what that experience is and going on and on and on, to have the opportunity to really have a character that has dimensions and it's and so rich, it's a gift.
Yeah. As a journeyman character actor, when you came on Breaking Bad, was it originally supposed to be just for an episode?
I thought I was going down just to do an episode.
Yeah.
And I came back and I said to Jenny, my wife, I said, I just work with a kid I think's really good. So this kid was good. And little Aaron, who's not so little, but I love Aaron.
Yeah, little Aaron, he's got some facial hair now. He's grown up.
He's growing up.
Yeah. But so you just thought that was the one episode, Fixer, you're on, and what happened after that? They liked you.
I mean, pretty quick. Yeah. They said, wanted to go back. I mean, I'm old enough. I probably do get more excited than I even let myself know. But I can't tell you the number of times over a 48-year career that you hear, we love you. We'd love to see that. It's well-intentioned, but you don't take it very seriously. That's nice. Good. Great.
Because it often doesn't pay.
You end up, with your heart on the cement. You can't do it.
Yeah.
You can't do it. Check clears. Then it was real. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess that's what makes this whole experience from that beginning, that first episode on Breaking Bad through this kind of the ride of your career, right?
It's wonderful. But when you're that lucky, there's almost a question about, I know I'm lucky, and I'm grateful, and I feel it's almost, but feeling that good over the course of a guarded career, of which most people's are, and in whatever profession it is, it's all of a sudden to really just let yourself go and feel good about it is, I'm not used to that.
Yeah.
Used to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just not used to it.
And you kind of feel like there's more prequel Mike stories to be told.
Yeah, I think Mike's probably been pretty hard for a long time. And I said to him, I said to Peter and Vince, I said, you know, he probably was in love with somebody once upon a time. So we'll see where that goes.
Yeah. To see how he maybe got his heart broke and that. Yeah.
Or, yeah. Because my guess is that she would have some substance to her.
Mm-hmm. She's with Mike. Mike, you know, Mike wouldn't be with anyone. Come on.
No.
Yeah. Well, how far back do you think they would let you go?
You can't go too far back because right. Johnny's not getting any younger. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. That's why I was asking. So
we're gonna put wigs on me and rouge. What are we gonna do?
Yeah. Well, they let. How far does Odenkirk go back?
I don't know how he sets it. Not only does he have this workload because the character Jimmy and Saul just yep all the time. So here's this workload, but then he is in the makeup trailer getting the wigs put on, and my attention span is not that long. I am judged by the hour and 40 minutes in traffic today. It was like, please let me out of this. Yeah.
You had a great episode after, you know, set back in the regular time.
Yeah.
Where we saw Mike, you know, getting back in the game a little bit. Packing a pimento sandwich, which I believe he called, what is it? The caviar of the South. I love that.
To which, where were we? We had done some panel discussion or something. And Vince, who's from Virginia, goes, well, it's actually not the caviar of the South. Caviar is the caviar of the South. And I thought, that's great. But I said to him, Vince, because a lot of my family's from North Carolina, and there is never a picnic without pimento sandwiches. And they're good, baby.
Did that come from you then?
That's one of the writers, but I sure don't think it was Vince.
Yeah.
Because Vince didn't like
clearly. So yeah, he comes to this parking garage. I loved how they shot it. I mean, Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, just two of the better shot cinematic television shows. And yeah, you're standing next to this one guy initially who looks like he's about 8 feet tall and 8 feet wide, just a mountain of a human being. And then this other guy, the Gabber, comes in and challenges Mike.
Wonderful actors. Again, I say to you, wonderful actors. The whole, what is it? What was those people, they're all known not to be able to perform, the racist crap. The big guy, just as a point of interest, I think was a doctoral candidate in some form of sciences. He's just wonderful actors.
Mm-hmm.
And then the nebbish that takes us on and I'm forgetting names, and I apologize, guys. I do apologize. That was so much fun.
He had a lot of guns.
A lot of guns.
Didn't do him any good, though, did
No
it?
guns. No. And the takeaway's fun. If you go on to YouTube or whatever, and there's a guy who is an expert that does that, which we watched and did. But the takeaway and the drop of the clip is, it's fun to do.
You go on YouTube and just like
there's a guy
search for
I should have names of people.
How to disarm somebody and
he takes, you take the weapon, you drop the clip, and it's done.
Yeah, right. There was that very
hit in the throat.
Yeah. He didn't recover for a while. He might still be there.
Thank God.
And then you go out to, so Mike's the one guy on the job now. He's getting the full 1,500, I think, 1,800. But his advice to the guy at the end kind of speaks to what we were talking about before a little bit, in that he's talking about, well, there are good criminals and there are bad criminals, and he's kind of making a differentiation, which for Mike, a former cop, maybe he shouldn't be making that point, huh?
Well, here's one of those things where I totally enjoy the scene as it's written, want to do the scene as it's written. I don't butt heads with my writers very often. But for Jonathan, no, there are no good criminals. Criminal's a criminal. You lie, you lie, you lie. If you are a police officer who harms somebody, then you're a criminal.
Not a good one.
And not a good one. And I know the world is not just black and white. But at the same time, when I read that, I thought, no, wait, guys. They're no good criminals. If you rob from somebody, you steal from somebody, you have stolen, you have lied, you have done something wrong. But I go ahead and I don't think I ever even said anything about that.
But from Mike's point
Tommy
of view,
Schnauz directed the episode. I didn't even bring it up. What I did bring up was I said, let me have a bite of my pimento sandwich. I've come all this way. Finally, he did one take that he never used, but I got a bite of my pimento sandwich.
Just one.
Huh? Just one.
But you got to maybe have it
and
later.
They were good too.
Yeah.
Because Trina, our prop mistress, is the best. They're good. I had a whole bag full.
Oh, good. So another bonus from the episode that we didn't see. Might we? I mean, I know you probably have no idea season 2, but they brought you back from the dead.
Yeah.
Can Gustavo Fring be far behind?
I hope. I hope. Have you ever met Giancarlo?
Talked to him on the phone one time.
Giancarlo is, with all that austere, cool, lethal killer that he does as Gus Fring, is like a kid in a candy store when you meet him. Hi, how are you? Good to see you. He had never been on time in his life, and they would send that van for us early in the mornings and from the hotel to take us to work, right? And he was always 5-10 minutes late. So a couple of years go by. One morning, he gets down there before I do, and he's like a little kid in the thing, grinning from ear to ear. So it became a game with him to see if he could get down there before I did. I love Giancarlo.
So you'd like to play that game again, maybe?
Always.
Yeah.
Anytime, anywhere. Yeah. Ryan, while we're sitting here, bring up the names of those guys that were in that episode. That's just wrong of me to not know them. I'm sorry.
That's okay. And we'll put those in. We had a couple of questions from readers. One you kind of talked about a little bit, I think. Taylor Lampella was asking how you as an actor bring the power and emotion to those quieter moments.
I just spoke at Indiana University. Who is the person?
Taylor.
Taylor. I just spoke at Indiana University, and that where I had gone to school, and I remember being very young, and a woman director saying to me, less. And I think I've tried to make a whole career of doing less and believing that when that camera is there and you're feeling it, I do believe it picks it up.
Mm-hmm.
It picks it up. My favorite actor is Anthony Quinn in A Lifetime. And you look back at what he did that was so good, so much of it, and it's so minimal. It's so minimal. Even when he breaks out, gets the Academy Award for Viva Zapata when he goes crazy. But Anthony Quinn was just wonderful. Anyway,
Well, if you're going to win an
I hope
Oscar,
that
you
answers
got to
it.
go crazy. You can't be quiet. But yeah,
Well, funny. I turned 2 o'clock in the morning. I woke up the other night and I hadn't seen Shoes of the Fisherman since I was a kid
yeah.
or young. And it was boring to me. No. I didn't get, there was not, there wasn't revenge. There wasn't action, whatever. And I turned it on with Oscar Werner. And I don't know how they ever got it made in the first place. Because you talk about a slow burn.
Yeah.
It's a story.
Yeah.
And Quinn was great.
Mm-hmm.
Just great.
Yeah, there's a real beauty when somebody can convey such soulfulness with just that absolute stillness.
Well, I'll get off this, but I mean, I am trying to answer that question with what my influences are and what I try to achieve. When he strokes the old prostitute's head in Zorba as she dies in her hair and tells her cheek and tells her how beautiful she is. Both of them. It's that much.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing that much.
We also had a question, just going back to the parking. All the time you spent in that booth, has Mike's parking lot gig made you more sensitive to how to voice your frustration when you forget to validate your ticket? You did remember to validate, or somebody did, right?
So I had a meeting with.
I love how you have a ready story.
I do. Well, I do, because it happened to me. I go up. I pitched one of my writing ideas, right? And I'm coming out of the Weinstein Company, and I go out. You stick the tickets in, and there's not enough. And I'm turning to the guy, and I said, "What am I going to do?" So I had to go back upstairs, much like Jimmy does, into the courthouse and get revalidated. How did I feel about it? I could have cared less. I don't know. It didn't bother me.
It didn't change your
Am I more sensitive to it?
Yeah.
If someone were rude to me during that process, yeah, I might have a reaction to it. But no, I'm not very sensitive anyway.
Yeah. Well, and I hope you did again validate before you leave today.
Well,
we'll take care of that. We'll take care of it.
I'm planning on walking home because it's raining in Los Angeles today, and it only took me an hour and a half to come downtown from where I live. And talk about patience. I have no patience. I have no sensitivity towards that. I wanted to gnaw my hand off. But I do want to find out the names of these guys.
Stephen Ogg is one of them.
Stephen Ogg.
I'm working on the other one.
Which one did Stephen play? Quickly.
I got it.
Come on, Ryan. What are you doing?
See, I can tell you're not even, sometimes not a person to be, there's that patience again coming out.
I mean, Ryan, you had a half an hour to look it up, for God's sake.
Well,
Ryan has a college degree, by the way.
Stephen Ogg played softjack.
Okay. All right.
Well,
we'll go with Stephen Ogg.
This is, I believe, episode, I want to say it was 9? 8 or 9.
9 when the gun takes
Wikipedia is really good at these, and IMDb, of course.
Yeah. I get to keep my cup.
You get to keep the cup as a reward.
Cool.
Or just, it'll be a fond memory of that hour and a half that you spent driving downtown. And
down I'm here. I kind of want to go get a French dip over there.
I would recommend that too, because you really don't want to get back on the road again, do you?
Well, my wife is not feeling well. I need to go home and take care of the honey. She's a bloodthirsty Spaniard that you better pay attention.
So maybe get the French dip for the road.
And for the bloodthirsty Spaniard. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Get to
I won't eat it.
Yeah.
But what if it's cold? I mean, I'm a little afraid.
Thank you so much for driving in.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you. And again, that hour 50. If you haven't seen it, go from episode 1 to 10, check it out. And also we have many more Emmy conversations with fine people, including Michael McKean, who was here 2 days ago from Better Call Saul. We're going through the whole cast. Maybe we'll get the guys who from the
The three of them.
we'll bring them in.
We could do another gun takeaway.
Yeah, a demonstration.
Actually, that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
Hmm.
maybe
I'll do
next
it.
season.
I'll do it, but
Yeah.
we got to do it.
David Maddie's the third one.
David Batty. All right.
Leave it out. There you go.
If you
We got there.
thank you, sir.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Thanks.